guys, Daniel from Video Game Book Club here, with the review that I promised you 3 months ago, maybe longer, but you know, stuff happens, like this new place. Of course you guys never really got to see the old place because I never made the video. But anyways, I recently, as in 3 months ago, played through Final Fantasy Adventure on the original Game Boy. Final Fantasy Adventure is the classic JRPG tale of boy meets girl, girl gets kidnapped, boy rescues girl so that she can get kidnapped again. Boy defeats ultimate villain, only to find out, you guessed it, he wasn't the real ultimate villain. Boy defeats real ultimate villain, and the girl turns into a tree. Wait, that can't be right. Let's start at the beginning. Final Fantasy Adventure is a game of many names. Here in America, it's known as Final Fantasy Adventure, while in Europe, the game is simply Mystic Quest. No, not that Mystic Quest. No, that's Quest 64. Ah, there you go. It's that one. And finally in Japan, the game is titled Seiken Densetsu Final Fantasy Gaiden, or, for those who aren't in the know, Legend of the Holy Sword, Final Fantasy Gaiden, which is the first entry in the fantastic Secret of Mana series. Final Fantasy Adventure falls in a unique category as being both a Final Fantasy game and a game that was so unique from its namesake, it spun off its own series. While Final Fantasy Legend games were always actually their own series, Final Fantasy Adventure started out as a side story, or Gaiden, but expanded into a series that has had 11 entries and spanned across 9 consoles. Instead of turn-based battles like the Final Fantasy games that came before, you fight enemies in real time, much like the Legend of Zelda series. You have access to magic and items, as well as several temporary party members who range from useful additions who heal you and restore your MP when asked, to useless old men who cryptically tell you how to use items that temporarily raise certain stats. Like most RPGs, you'll come across new armors and weapons throughout your journey, but what sets Adventure apart is the different classes of weapons. Throughout your journey, you'll obtain swords, axes, chain flails, spears, a sickle, and even a mace. On top of all the weapons having different attack ranges and area of effect, you'll also use most of them to solve puzzles throughout the game. The sickle can be used to cut down plants, the axe cuts down trees, the chain flail can attach itself to poles on the other side of gaps or non-traversable terrain, and the mace, while not only breaking through most enemies' defenses, can also break certain walls that before you were required to carry around a particular item in your inventory for. This brings up my big complaint, the game's limited inventory. Before you get the mace, you have to carry around mattocks, which are able to break rocks as well as certain walls. Add to this keys, restorative items, and key items you need for your current quest. The 16 item limit can be reached very quickly. To help mitigate this issue, most items can be used anywhere between 2 and 7 times before leaving your inventory. The level up system will be instantly recognizable to anyone who's played previous Final Fantasy or Secret of Mana games. Kill monster, gain experience, get stronger, rinse and repeat. While I did grind out a few levels at the beginning of my playthrough, it at no point is actually necessary as long as you're paying attention to the game. Of course, if you're anything like me, you may be playing late at night and lose 2 hours worth of playtime because you were barely awake and died against a regular monster. Losing progress is always frustrating in RPGs, but in Final Fantasy Adventure there really isn't much of an excuse. Instead of having to find a save point in Adventure, you can save anywhere and anytime you want. This, of course, points to its original portable nature, even if I did play the game on my SNES with my Super Game Boy, so I can get all 2 of those gorgeous colors. The gameplay is still pretty solid, even for a 25-year-old original Game Boy title. However, it does get annoying constantly having to go to your menu to switch between items and spells, which can be accessed with the B button, or to switch to a different weapon class because you're fighting an enemy that is impervious to your current choice. You'll also run into several Final Fantasy mainstays such as white and black mages and chocobos. There's even a status that'll turn you into a Moogle. While at the time Adventure's story was more in depth than many of its predecessors, 25 years later it's incredibly simple, yet still a rewarding experience. The game opens with a text scroll informing the player about the Tree of Mana and how the Dark Lord is attempting to obtain its power so he can conquer the world. You then get to name both the boy you play as well as a girl whose fate will become intertwined with your own shortly after starting the game. If you own the game's manual, you'll know the boy's name is Sumo, while the girl's name is Fuji. Well, I don't own the manual, and those names are stupid. Of course, I'll have to name the boy Dan, so I can easily connect to this monster-slaying, magic-using character. And let's name the girl... I don't know, what's a girl's name? Girls' names are hard. Clay. Yeah, Clay. That's a girl's name, I think. You're immediately thrust into battle against a giant monster, which you must defeat. This is a great opening, and immediately sets the stakes for what kind of life our hero lives as a fighter, whose sole purpose is the entertainment of the Dark Lord. Once done with your first foe, you come into a room with another fighter, your friend Willie. With his dying breath, Willie sets you out on a world-spanning quest to find Excalibur and save the Tree of Mana. But first we have to get thrown off a cliff when we overhear Dark Lord and his underling Julius scheming about a girl who has the key to climbing the waterfall and obtaining the Tree of Mana's power. This is when you get your first taste of what makes up half of Adventure's gameplay, traversing the wilderness between towns and dungeons. Here you can fight monsters and get completely lost in a maze of trees and mountains. Soon after finding yourself killing mushrooms and goblins, you'll run into our other named character, Clay. This sets off the string of abductions and rescues that I mentioned at the top of our show, until the end when you defeat Julius, the Dark Lord's underling, who has empowered himself with the Mana Tree. Upon his defeat, you learn that your female companion not only guarded the key to reach the Mana Tree, but now that it's been destroyed, she'll be the seed to grow a new one. And as the last of her kind, she'll be the last Mana Tree, and you'll be her knight to protect her. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy, Secret of Mana, or the Zelda series, this game is right up your alley. It only took me about 9 hours to play through the game altogether, but I had a great time. It is a fairly simplistic story, but it's also a 25-year-old Game Boy title. But for a 25-year-old Game Boy title, it definitely is at the top of the list. It was a great time. I'm really glad I finally got this video finished so I can put it out there for you all. Definitely look for more videos a lot faster. So I guess that gives me at least 75 days. Thanks for watching our video. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we know you all are busy, and we love that you've taken time to hang out with us for a little while.
While you're here, why don't you check out some of our other videos we've made? You kind of owe us now.
And we have a website that you can browse through too, if you want to.
You can also check us out on Twitter and Facebook. All those links are right here, so it's easy.
If you want to see more stuff from us, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and also leave this video a big thumbs up. That would be super awesome. Well, until next time, take care everyone.